Now, if you see, we have worked with distributed component, right? We have worked with distributed component. Can you tell me what was the distributed component that we have used? EJBs, right? Fine. Now, what is actually distributed component, and why we need distributed component? What are the various ways in which actually Java can help you in creating distributed components? Now, if you see here, assume that I am writing a servlet, and this servlet is invoking a business service, right? You say business class, for example, validate credit card, right? Now, this validate credit card will have a method you say called as validate. Now, assume that you have created this as a simple class in your web component, right? Now, assume that 1,000 users are accessing your servlet. They are making call to your servlet, right? Can you let me know how many instances will be created? For example, I'll show you through code, then you will understand it better. I'm creating a simple web application here. I'll go and I'll create a simple dynamic web project. I'll write here test sample. I'll select here 2.5, next, next, finish. I'll close all. Now, in this particular web component, what I'm doing is I'm writing a simple class, which is my business service class. I'll just go here, create new class, and I'll take up a package here called as com.services, and in this I will create class called as credit card validator. This is what is my class. In this class, I'm having a method called as public boolean validate card, and I'm taking input here as use a string card number, and this returns some value after manipulation. Okay, so I'll write here logic, whatever logic is there, and this will return some boolean value. As of now, assume that I'm directly returning true, right? Now, this is a simple business logic that we have written. So next, what we have to do is we have to plan that whenever user enters his credit card number, when he clicks on the HTML form, it will invoke a servlet, because it is servlet which understands HTTP protocol and helps you in making call to the methods or to the method in order to do the task and finally return the value to the user. So I will create a servlet here, new servlet, com.controller I'm writing, and in this I'll write the class, you say invoke or you say card servlet. Click on next, click on next, click on finish. Now I'll go to do-get method, because this is the method which is called, and in do-get method I will create an instance of credit card validator. Credit card validator equal to new credit card, and then I will make call to the method called as card validator dot validate, and we'll pass here a number, you say credit card number, right? Now assume that 100 users are making call to this servlet. What happens? For all 100 users, this do-get method will be called, and whenever do-get method is getting called, an instance of credit card validator is getting created. Is that clear? Niharika, is that clear? Kani, is that clear? Right? So at some other point of time, what will happen is your system will reach to a stage where it will say out of memory, right? Because each system will have a capacity. So if millions or thousands of users are trying to connect, what happens? Thousands of objects will be getting created, right? Which may actually create lots of objects and you may run out of memory. So in order to ensure that limited number of objects are created and those limited number of objects should cater thousands of requests, you have to go and create distributed objects. And you have to go and manage concurrency, right? Because same object has to be used now by multiple users. In order to ensure that instead of every time creating new object, why can't we use the same object to serve requests and ensure that number of credit card validators which are getting created are within the control. Okay, that is what is role of distributed object, right? So distributed objects, when we say, it provides you capability of serving requests by sharing the objects. Okay, by sharing objects, right? It means you have to take care of concurrency. You have to take care of transaction management. And sometimes you will not like certain methods to be called by all users. So you can say security also, right? Fine. So it means need is to help you in creating some kind of distributed object here. In Java, you have 4 different ways in which you can create these distributed objects. One is RMI, which stands for Remote Method Invocation. Right? Now this was the specification which was provided by Java in J2SE itself. You don't need JEE for it or J2EE for it or any server for it, right? But problem with RMI was only Java clients. It means if some client written in other language wants to take advantage of your component, he cannot do it because RMI just understands Java. So only Java client can be written. Okay. Right? Apart from that, developer has to handle complexity of concurrency, transaction management, right? Programmatically. So all these low level of services, I'll write here low level services so that you can understand, must be programmatically handled or must be handled by developer. Right? Must be programmed. Now, in order to remove deficiency of RMI, there was another specification came up, that was Corba. So this Corba was also written in J2SE. You don't need J2EE for it. But benefit of Corba was now your component was language independent. It means clients written in other languages can also go and access the services, right? But still, low-level service management need to be written by developers. Must be programmed. Right? Now this frustrated developers, as a result of which EJB came. And EJB contained advantage of Corba, that is, it was language independent, means you can ask Corba protocol to be used in order to access EJB. But one extra benefit that you got here is automation of low-level service. Is that clear? So if someone is asking you what is benefit of EJB over Corba and RMI, you will be able to answer, right? Niharika? Is that clear? Okay, fine. Now, what was the problem which was there with EJB? I think someone lost the audio. What was the problem which was there with EJB? Okay. So we'll wait for her to join.
Okay. Yes, Niranjan.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So I feel that you understand advantage of EJB over Corba and RMI now.
Yes.
Okay. It's automation of low level services, and this was taken care by container, which we have already spoken about, right?
Right.
But still there were some problems in EJB, and that problem was, in order to access EJB, you need to depend on some protocol called as RMI. EJB can be accessed using RMI protocol, or there are other protocols like RMI, IOP protocols. And please understand that all these protocols are required, or all these protocols requires what? JVM, because it's JVM who can do the translation, marshalling and unmarshalling, right? So how actually you will make it possible? You will end up writing protocol translation. I'm not saying it is not possible, it is possible, but you have to take responsibility of writing protocol translation, right? Which is itself a complicated task. So looking at this, there was a need of a distributed component which can be accessed using de facto protocol. And de facto protocol we all know is HTTP. Irrespective of operating system, irrespective of device, you will definitely have capability of interpreting HTTP protocol, right? That gave actually place for web services, right? So if someone is asking you define web services, it's very simple. Web services are distributed components that can be accessed using HTTP protocol, right? It means web services adds portability, right? Your distributed components becomes portable because they are now accessible using HTTP protocol. It's clear, right? And now, if you see, specifications of web services are not owned by Sun Microsystems, neither it is owned by Microsoft, nor it is owned by IBM. Specifications of web services are taken care by something called as W3C. Okay, so W3C actually maintains web service standards.
W3C.
Is that clear? W3C is a body. You can say it's a standard body which takes responsibility of managing standards in order to ensure that computing can be made more portable. Okay. Java, or you say Sun Microsystems or IBM or Oracle or Microsoft provides implementation of these standards, right? It's clear. Apart from this, one more thing that you need to know about web service is web services uses XML as its standard. That means whatever data exchange happens or whatever information is passed between web service consumer and web service provider, it uses XML standards, right? For example, if I talk about transport, you have a protocol called as SOAP, which stands for Simple Object Access Protocol, right? Now this is protocol which is used by web service consumers in order to send the request, which will be in XML format, and the same protocol will be used by service provider in order to respond back in XML. Okay, is that clear? So you can say at transport layer they use SOAP. Similarly, in order to describe about your web services, because until and unless you will not tell your client that this web service has these methods and what method takes what arguments and what it returns, it will be difficult for web service consumers to go and write the client code, right? In order to help them in understanding web services, you will be using a language to write the description, and that language is called as WSDL, which stands for Web Service Description Language. Is that clear? It's clear, right? And both of them are driven by what? XML, right? Third important protocol or standard is UDDI, which is registry where services are published. So web service provider will publish the service in UDDI servers where they have to follow a predefined standard in order to go and publish their web services. And when it comes to consumers, consumers will locate the web service, right? They will locate the web service. Fine, and all this information is what is stored in UDDI when web service provider goes and publishes it. Right, so if someone is asking you what are web services, they are distributed components that can be accessed using HTTP protocol. W3C maintains web service standards, and web services uses XML as its standard. Right, some of the standards which are adopted by web services are SOAP, WSDL, and UDDI. And please understand, SOAP, WSDL, and UDDI have common interpretation, whether you are using Microsoft based languages or you are using Java based languages. Is that clear?
Okay.
Good. Now what role we will play when it comes to web services? We will be playing role of producer, or you say service provider. Let me call it a service provider. This is what is one role. It means I'll be going and I'll be creating the web service. Second is, if I'm asked to consume a web service in my business logic, one of the use cases requires credit card validator service. What I will be? I will be service consumer. Third role that you can play here is service registry provider. It means setting up the required database so that service providers can go and publish their services, and service consumer can go and locate services from there, right? So you will have here service registry providers. So these are the three different roles which you will be playing. In some companies you may play role of service provider as well as service consumer. In some companies you may need to just write services and publish them, right? So it depends on what role you have been assigned by the company when it comes to web services. Is that clear? It's clear, right?
Yes. Yes.
Fine. Now when it comes to Java and web services, see, there were different standards which were adopted by Java in order to help you in building and consuming web services. One of them was JAX RS. I'll say JAX RPC. Right? Now in JAX RPC, you'll be able to create service, you'll be able to consume service, everything you'll be able to do. But whenever an external consumer who is not written using JAX RPC standard will try to invoke, there will be some issues related to portability. Why? Because probably other party is using higher version of SOAP protocol in order to make the request. Okay? Is that right? So in order to ensure that the minute I go and create my web service, other parties should be aware that what version of SOAP is required in order to invoke the web service and all. One body was created and that body was called as WSIT. Yeah, JAX RPC is, you can say, is an API to create web services. Not only create web services but also consume web services. Okay. Now problem with this is, assume that I am creating my web service using SOAP 1.1, and if client is trying to make call to this using SOAP 1.2, problem, right? Okay, fine. So what they did, all companies sat together and they said that we will come up with profile, for example WS1 profile and WS2 profile. These two profiles are there as of now. And if I say that please consume my web service, I have created it using WS profile, you will immediately understand what version of SOAP, what version of WSDL and all I am using, right? And this standard was implemented in another API called as JAX-WS, right? So you can say JAX-WS is improved JAX-RPC, right? It's clear. How it is improved? It applies the standards as per WS profile. Is that clear? You will understand it more the minute I move forward, but I feel that you are able to at least get the terminologies right. SOAP, WSDL, UDDI, WSIT, JAX-WS, JAX-RPC. So if you ask me what are the question areas, these are the question areas, right? Better you keep these terminologies coined properly so that you can look into wiki and all and create good definitions. Is that clear?
Okay.
Fine. Now, what I'll do today I will make you capable of creating web services, deploying web services, and then generating client for web services, right? This is what is my objective for today. Is that clear?
Yes.
It's clear, right? Fine.
Yep.
Now, what do we need in order to write web services? See, there are various web service frameworks, like you have Apache Access, you have Apache CXF. JBoss comes with its own JBoss WS. WebLogic comes with its own WebLogic WS. Means everyone has provided implementation of JAX-WS, and they have in fact provided their own ways also of creating and consuming web services, right? So you cannot say that once I know JAX-WS, I can go and I can create web services and implement web services which are specific to them. No, each framework is an area of study. Okay, right? Because there is nothing written regarding web services in J2E frameworks or JEE frameworks, because standards are maintained by someone else. So Sun Microsystem gave this flexibility to vendors that you people only go and implement it, right? But with growing popularity of JAX-WS, Sun Microsystem said that Java 1.6 Plus has inbuilt JAX-WS runtime. It means I need not depend on any server or any framework in order to create my web service and test my web service. It's clear? You got it, right? Good. Now, how to create a web service using JAX 1.6 Plus, right? What I'll do, I will not use any server here and we'll create a web service. We will run the web service and I will just show you how actually WSDL is generated, and then I'll be using some tool in order to generate client also, right? And then I'll leave you. You do till here, and then next session we will focus on theory, where I will explain you what is WSDL, what is SOAP, what are the elements which are there in WSDL, what all are the elements which are there in SOAP. Fine?
Yeah.
Good. Now, let me create a simple project. File, new. I'll create a core Java project here. Next, I'll write here card validator service. And let me give project here. Select your JDK. Let me go and take 1.7. Next, I'm not taking any library. It's all 1.7 library. Click on finish. So now I have 1.7 I'm using in order to build my web service. I'll just go here, right click, new class, and I'll give it a package name com.services, and here I will write card validator service. Click on finish. I'll write here a method, same method. Let me say I'm writing a simple method, public int add, okay, int I, int j. Don't go on use case. Just trying to show you how actually we can create web service. Return I plus j. Okay. So this is a simple service class. I want this class to be a web service, and I want to use JAX-WS. And just now I told you that 1.6 onwards, JAX-WS was inbuilt in Java library. Okay. I need to just use one annotation here, Niharika, and that annotation is @web service. Believe me, your web service is created. Yes, it is not published, it is not deployed, and it is not running, but web service is created. If you want to give some specific name to your web service, you can go ahead and you can give. Okay. Right? All this I will explain you once we move forward. As of now, I want you to be practically good in creating and generating artifacts so that it can be used by client. Right? So be careful and see. I'll save it. I have created my web service. Now instead of deploying it in Access, CXF, what I'll do, I'll just go here, create a class, I'll write publish and invoke web service. I'll take main method here, right? No spaces, huh? Click on finish. And if you see, I'm just writing one statement here. Endpoint dot publish. I can specify here whatever endpoint I want. So I'm writing here HTTP localhost, say 555. It should be free port, my services / whatever you want to, like card service. I'm just naming it as card service, and I will be passing an object of my service class here. New card validator. Done. I'll just go and run this. So JDK 1.6 onwards, they came up with this endpoint class which provides you capability of creating a runtime environment, a container in which this service will be started. I'll just go and show you the console. It is running now. In order to ensure that we are able to prove that it is running, let us copy it from here and launch some browser. I'll go to Firefox or Chrome, anywhere. I'll just launch any browser and I'll just go and paste it here, the URL, the endpoint. Are you able to see? Niharika, Kani, you are able to see, right?
Yes.
It says that you have a service now, and address or endpoint of that service is this, and your WSDL is present here. So I can just go and click on this. If you see, it generates a WSDL file, right? So you don't worry about this. I will explain you. As of now, you need to worry more about understanding the process in which I have just created. Is that clear?
Yes.
It's clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. What next? Next is writing client, right? Control C. Launch the command prompt. I'll launch command prompt in my case also. I'll just go and launch command prompt here. You can launch it in Windows, right? And what I'm doing is I'm just moving back. Sorry. I'll see PWD. I'm there in users. I'll go to, you say, desktop. Let me create there only. I'll create a folder now, mkdir, and I'll write here kn client. This is what is name of the package, a name of the folder which gets created. I'll move to kn client, and this is the place where now I will generate client. Okay. See, in order to generate client will ask for what? WSDL file, because it is WSDL file which contains complete information. For example, if you see here, your web service is running at what location? It is there in WSDL file. What is the name of operation? It is there in your WSDL file. What is the type of argument? It is there in your WSDL file, right? So once I have WSDL file, using WSDL file, what I can do? I can go and I can generate the client stub. Okay. So I'm going to show you today process of generating client stub, right? Now, even if this web service is written in .NET, still your process will be common. I'll just go here and I'll write ws import minus d dot, means keep all the files which is going to get generated in the current path, followed by minus keep. When I say minus keep, it means store the source file also apart from compiled code. If you will not use minus keep, it will not go and keep .java files. Okay, so if you want to preserve .java files, better is to use minus keep option there. Is that clear?
Okay.
It's clear, right? Fine. And then you just paste here your WSDL URL. Press enter, and you see it parses WSDL. It means reads WSDL, generates code, compiles code. Right? Now what I'll do, I'll just go to my desktop where I have this. I'll go and I'll write kn client
Niranjan,
1,
one
right?
question. Niranjan, I'm sorry. I
Yes.
guess I skipped that part. The
What?
KN client I will be getting also on my system.
Yes, you'll be getting it's. You can use any name, any folder name. Okay.
Okay.
You have to create the folder with whatever name you want, and you have to just generate it like I have generated. Now, if you see, I'll just go to the client, right click, copy it. I'll keep copying it, right? I'll go to my Eclipse, and then I will write a web service client project, new project. I'll write here a simple Java project. I'll take WS client. Next, finish. And then whatever is generated, I'll come and I'll keep here in the project. You see, these are the files which are generated. Is that clear? Okay. It's clear, right?
Okay.
Process is clear.
Only that command has executed these all the files.
Yes, only that command has generated all the files. We have just used WS import.
Okay.
Not only this, you can look for any web service. For example, Let me go and search a web service for you which is online, and we will generate for that also. I'm just searching for a WSDL file. See, I have here global weather. I'll just launch it and we'll see WSDL file. We'll use this WSDL file now, which is not written by us and it is written in .NET. It's a bit slow because so many will be accessing it. Yeah. Are you able to see this WSDL file here?
Yes, yes.
I'll use this. Now, this is not created by us. This is created by someone else.
Okay.
But still I can go and I can generate. You see, I'll just go here. I'll come out CD and I'll now create a folder called as mkdir kn client 2 and specify here the rest. Keep everything common. You have to just move to the directory once again. I'll move to the directory kn client 2. And now here I'll write ws import -d dot current directory.
Niranjan, your desktop is freeze, I guess. I'm not able to see anything. I mean, it is not moving. I'm just seeing that mkdir kn client 2.
Okay. Niharika, are you able to see?
No, this is Niharika only.
Okay. Kani, are you able to see?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay,
Are
now.
you able to see ws import -d, right?
Right. Now I can see, Niranjan. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Please.
So I have written ws import -d dot -keep. Okay. And instead of my WSDL, I'm just pasting here WSDL which I have just now taken it from that website. Okay. So this process actually can be done for any web service. You need to just have the WSDL. I just press enter. Right, it has generated warnings, but it has generated code and it has compiled also. I'll go and show you. See here, kn client 2 net. I'll just copy it. I'll come to my Eclipse. In SRC, I'll just go and paste it. Now you see, these classes are generated. Right?
Okay.
So you can write client now if you are aware about what arguments you have to pass for what. See? So this is what I will explain you in next session. As of now, I'm just showing you the process which we have to use in order to write client. Is that clear?
Okay, Niranjan,
Yeah.
I don't understand this thing that how come we are getting this one card validator service and other services, object factory, package info.
Yeah, that is what I will explain you, because what happens internally, WS import makes call to JAX-B.
Okay.
So when I will explain you WSDL, then I will tell you what component of WSDL is used to generate which Java artifact.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's the JAX-B.
Because all
JAX-B is also coming into picture here.
Yeah, it will come into picture because object to XML binding is required, right?
Yes.
See, web services use an XML standard. So whatever types will be there, they will be XML types.
Okay, can we say that these are the Pojo files
add,
created?
Add.java is Pojo. See, Pojo with annotations. These annotations are JAX-B annotations. So this is your request. This is your response. It returns integer, right? So it has only one attribute. And then card validator is an interface. This is an interface. And card service validator service is the locator class. It will help you to locate the service when you write client. Okay, let me write client.
Okay.
And invoke it so that you can see how simple it is.
Okay.
I'll just go and write here invoke service. I'll take main method, click on finish. And here what I'll do, I'll create an instance of credit card validator, yeah, card validator service, because I need locator. Right. Now only one line is required. I'll write your sys out. Service LOC dot get port dot add, and I'll pass here whatever value I want. Right. So if you see, creating or consuming web service is not very difficult, right? If you follow the steps that I have told you. So believe me, consuming as well as creating or publishing web service is not at all difficult. This is the reason I want you to complete this process, so that at least practically you are good, and I can discuss with you internals of WSDL, SOAP and all. You see the answer, it's 500.
Okay.
Is that clear? Now you don't worry about what all these are doing, because that I'll tell you. I want you to just complete this process on your own once, be comfortable in that, and then I'm going to tell you what is this add.java, from where it came, right? For example, if you see here your web service is there, you know it has a schema here. It has a schema here. And this schema actually defines the types which are being used in your web service as request and response. See? It has complex type add, it has complex type add response. Now from this schema, it has generated 4 classes, just to tell you. And those 4 classes are add.java, right? Add response.java, and then object factory and package info. These 4 are generated. Okay, so from just XSD. Now if you want to see how it generated, it's very simple. It has used a tool called as JAXB, and JAXB comes with a compiler called as XJC. That compiler actually takes your XSD and generates the corresponding classes. Okay, so that's what I told you, that hold on, just complete the process so that you're clear with this. Then I'll show you. And you see XJC is also there. I can use XJC here to do the same. I'll just go and write XJC. See, XJC treats input as W3C schema, and it generates what? It generates the classes. Okay?
Yes, yes.
Is that clear, right? For example, if you want to,
and that one WSDL, both are doing the same thing?
WS import.
WS import.
WS import is reading entire WSDL file. See, apart from your schema, your WSDL file contains other information also, right? Which version of SOAP is used, what is the document type, what is the style, whether style is RPC or it is something else. Okay? So all those details are there, which are there in WSDL. Yes, out of those 6, 4 are getting generated by XJC and rest are generated by WS import from rest of the WSDL information. Is that clear?
Yeah.
See, when you are using WS import, your WS import does what? It reads your
WSDL information.
WSDL file, okay? And from this WSDL file, it goes and gets first schema. It reads first schema, okay? This part. And immediately on this schema, it makes call to XJC. As a result of which, what should be the request format and what should be the response format? That is what is understood by your tool, and it generates the required request and response objects or classes. Okay. After it is done, it moves forward and it finds out, okay, what is the name of the method, what is the name of the operation, what all argument it will take, right? What is the style which it is using, what is the binding which it is using, what is the location where this web service is created and published, right? All this information will be used in order to create card validator service and card validator service. See, it is pointing to this WSDL, right? Means it is using this WSDL in order to get the endpoint of the web service. Is that clear?
Okay.
Fine. So you don't worry about it as of now. As of now, as I told you, just focus on completing the task so that in case if someone is asking you to create a web service and write functional testing of it, you are able to do it. We have as of now used a very simple class with only one annotation, and that annotation is what? @web service. And then I have used a tool here in order to generate. That tool is what? WS import. Now if you go with different framework, for example, even if you go with Apache Access, this Apache Access contains a tool called as WSDL to Java. Name of the tool is different, but it will do the same thing. Okay. Then when you go with Apache CXL, this is another framework. This also contains a tool called as WSDL to Java. Right? It does the same thing, but your Java, you can say JSC, comes along with a tool called as WS import. Is that clear?
Okay.
It's clear, right?
Yep.
Niharika, is that clear?
Yeah.
Kani, is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you will do, you have to complete this process. If you want if you want me to paste the command WS import on the chat box so that you can copy it with you, I can do that.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Because this is only something which I feel that you will look for. You got it? Before this, what you have to do? You have to create a folder. Okay? Because after -d you have a dot. That dot means current folder. So wherever you will run it, it will create all those artifacts in the current folder. Is that clear?
Okay. I didn't got the command.
I just gave you. I have just typed it. You might have received it. Okay. Okay, fine. So now you are aware about why web services are required. What is benefit of web service over EJB, right? What do we mean by JAX RPC? What do we mean by JAX WS, right? And I'm telling you, these are the words that you need to actually explore more and create your own definitions so that in case if they are asking you in interviews, we are able to reply, right? Though I will be sharing a material with you, I will upload it today itself in the blog. So that you can download it and you can go through it. Okay, and that document is specifically for web services, right? You can say that it's 80 hours of coverage that we take only for web services. People who are only for web services and they need comprehensive web service coverage, we take it for 40 to 80 hours also, where securing web services and all are also there. So I'll share the same material with you so that at least you can go through it and be ready. Okay. Right? Fine.
Okay.
Okay, so that's it for today.